Morning everybody, welcome to Stockradar, Stocks on the Move for another week. Today's date is the 5th of February 2026. My name is Richard Lee and I manage the stockradar.com.au website for you. Well, sobering dose of reality this week. Gold had a little bit of a twinkle and the markets took fright, but we're back again. We'll probably be down again today, so interesting times. We're going to talk a little bit about trends today because a lot of you have got some good trends that you probably want to protect, especially in that metals market. We've got a huge amount of trends that have been running through there, so we now need to know what to do with them. The market's come back a bit, frightens you off a little bit, so we're thinking about where we're going to lock in our profits, things like that. So I want to talk a little bit about that today because it's an important part of trading. But firstly, what we're going to get straight into is the 10 intensity ratings. Okay. So again, S32 BHP at the top, surprise after a huge run yesterday and last week. ALQ's still up there, Capstone Copper's doing well, Rio's making new high. Well, it's hitting recent highs anyway. Flight Centre's bounced up. We'll have a look at that one later on. Sandfire, Sims doing well. Horizon Little Industrial is doing quite nicely, just slowly creeping higher and higher. And Paladin, all those stocks, Paladin, Deep Yellow, Bannerman, they're all going a little bit crazy at the moment. But that's a selection of our top 10 ratings. It's not a complete list. There are more than with top 10, so there are more very, very strong trends that we're following at the moment. So again, we need to know what to do with those trends. Okay, our stock pick update, we're actually down for this week to 46, so we've added one in and we've lost 5 this week. Okay, so that's the stock pick count. Now to go to the overseas markets. Brief mention on the portfolios. As you said, they're all pretty well full at the moment and there's been no real change in the last week or so. So now we get to the overseas markets. Really not a lot of change again. Up and down. We're down again last night. Dow's looking fine. The trend is up. S&P is looking fine. The trend is up. We do note, a couple of times there's been a fair bit of selling occurring, and you can see here in the Nasdaq especially, the market's going nowhere and selling is occurring. So that's a bit of a change. Often the market has absorbed the selling and pushed the market higher. At this stage, we find some selling has stopped the market a little bit and pushed it down a little bit. So we're just a little bit wary. We just watch our first little protection area here, just down here, just above 22,000 there, I think. So that's Nasdaq. Our market, again, it's shying away from those highs again. It's had a shot. It doesn't look like it's going to get to it this week. It may or tomorrow, who knows. But still looks okay. And again, our shining light is our mining sector at the moment, led by Big Leader and BHP. Okay, commodities also looking better. Gold's as we know, had a little spasm this week. It's back up. That's a bit of a sign. That volatility is always a bit of a sign of a top, but it may well pass. The trend is still up. We're still holding the gold stocks. There's nothing really to do at the moment, so we haven't had a breakdown or anything. So just a little bit of a nervous shiver in the market. And copper, well, it's making new highs as well. It's doing pretty well, which our Sandfires and BHPs and Rios are all, of course, liking very much. And it looks fine. The volume's up. It's making new highs. There's no real problem there with copper, so it may well go higher. Remembering we have broken clear from a fairly big resistance area here, so we would expect this market to go higher from here as a result of that sort of size pattern. Okay, so that's copper. Brent crude, well, finally have we got some signs of life? I don't know. Here's Brent crude. We're back down the bottom. We'll focus on this bottom part now. There's his name, Brent crude. A little sort of a double bottom here of support. So that's probably a good sign. We've got no new low. We've now got a fairly good amount of buying coming in here. The price is being pushed up towards our switch zone. We have the average, downtrend line and a horizontal line. So we've got through the average. We still have to break the downtrend line and the horizontal line yet. So there's more work to be done, but it's certainly looking promising at the moment. The momentum showing the selling power is going down. There's new buying appearing. The price is rising. So that's good. So this area here and this big downtrend here is the main area that we need to watch for Brent crude if we're really going to get some excitement back into this market. And it's probably overdue. It's about time we had a bit of fun in this Brent market because it's been very boring for quite some time. Okay, so that's the overseas markets, that's the commodities markets, our market. course, we're going to go to our stocks now. BHP, I can't resist. It's just been a great run, and it's looking exciting at the moment. Trend intensity rating of 10 from last week. Volume's solid, momentum's good, and we're now really starting to make some price gains there, which is great. Probably come off a little bit today, I don't know, but if we can finish the week above here, that certainly will be a very encouraging sign that it wants to go higher. And we'll talk about prices later on, expensive prices and cheap prices. You may think that $50 is expensive for BHP, but at $60 and $70 it's not. We'll talk a little bit about that in the next chart. Okay, which is Pilbara Minerals, which we've had a big run on this one, probably about 70% up at the moment. We've got an entry here, we've got our trend switch zone here, we had our trend reversal confirmation here, we then had a very short, sharp rally, straight back up to R1 pretty quickly, okay, and it's come off. So now we're in a situation where we've got to work out what we're going to do, because we need to protect our profit that we've got. Okay, we've worked hard for this, it's come quickly, but we need to make sure, and as we've got to a new high, we're also a little bit wary here. So the natural thing is to tighten your stop a little bit, allow the market to breathe a bit, but also tighten the stop up a bit, so we're locking a little bit more profit each time. So depending on where your stop is, that is where your decision is made at the moment. Getting tops and bottoms is a difficult thing. I'll talk a little bit about that in trading tactics. But Pilbara Minerals has run on well. We've got to protect that profit, so make sure your stop keeps rising. And as we are nearing resistance here, it is a natural spot for a correction. So as I said before, we just need to make sure we capitalise and maximise this move and take a good chunk of this trend that we've already earned. Okay, so that's Pilbara Minerals. It's still 10. Stop hasn't gone off yet, but be careful. Okay, Sigma Healthcare. Well, I'd sort of given this one up a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, as I was testing this down the bottom here, but it is rebounded again, to its credit. So we've been in this range for a year now, really, trading between about 320 and about 270, tight trading range, 50 cents. Rotating through there. Volume, look, it's interesting. It's probably getting a little bit more exciting at the moment, but really any of these things, and we've seen this big drift down here, it's now starting to turn. Maybe the shift is about to happen, but really what I need to see is this R1 to be broken and the 326 level to be taken out to signal that this market's going to go off again. So, it's certainly by no means certain, but it's certainly worth watching at the moment. And I know there's a lot of you probably holding this stock and want to know what is going to happen at the moment, because it's been quite frustratingly trading sideways for quite some time. And after all the excitement, of course, we want some money to be made and we want some price rises, and they're just not happening, so that's frustrating. But anyway, hang on, the stop hasn't gone off, so we stay in there and just be patient. Okay, next one I talked about Flight Centre, which is in the top 10 ratings at the moment. Finally, we've seen some sort of change in this stock's behaviour from very weak. Up around 24. It's been a lot higher than this before, but this most recent high was at $24, $23. It came down to about $11, just above 11. Then we've had this double bottom pattern that's occurred here, double bottom of support. Then we finally get our trend reversal level across here, the peak between the two lows. Okay, we're watching all this volume starting to build here a little bit, which has been good. Momentum's drawing back to zero. Then here, we get a move through the trend reversal level above the moving average there. We also get some nice volume here, and also momentum kicks into zero. So this is one of our alignment of the stars, which is a really, really strong signal for us. Now, it's come off a bit yesterday, might come a bit today, but this is the nature of these bottoms. The early stages can be fraught with danger. Sometimes you need a couple of tries. Hopefully we won't at this one, but we still need to watch our stops where they are, because they could always come back very easy. But it does look very good at the moment. We've got some new fresh buying in here. We're getting some price advantages, so I'm happy with the way Flight Centre is going at the moment with a trend intensity rating of 10. Okay, so that's Flight Centre, just a very simple trend reversal. AGL, we can have a quick look at it again. It's sort of clawing its way back, which you said before, to this potentially trend reversal level. It came back a bit yesterday, not a lot to say. It's encouraging what's happening this higher low here, and that's probably where we're at the moment for AGL. We need some more evidence, we need some more volume to happen, we need some more price advances to happen. But anyway, we know what we're looking for, so we'll wait till that happens. And then we've got Metals X. This is what I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago in the YouTube videos, which has broken high nicely. But really what I want to talk a little bit about is a bit about your expectations. and I'm going to talk a little bit about this next in trading tactics, because expectations are an important part of what we do, because they drive our psyche, and we're very wary of trying to make our money and not make our money, what's expensive and what's not. For me, Metals X, as we said before, we broke above this area here at around about 74 cents, and this was back in late September. Okay, then rallied through there, came back to find support and rallied powerfully since then. At this point here, a lot of people look at this price as being expensive. It's the highest it's been forever, and at this level, people are very reticent to buy it. When I see it go through these levels here, this point here, this says to me, this is a high price, but it wants to go higher. Okay, that's what the new high tells me all the time, and invariably it's right. Okay, and in this situation it was. We've had a good rally to about 132. So at this point we are thinking the stock is probably expensive at 75 cents. No one paid a high price for it. Is it going to go high? We don't know. But it does say to me it is going high when it breaks those old previous highs. So it did rally sharply. Suddenly, at this price of 132, 75 cents doesn't seem so expensive. Perceptions can change very quickly. So what I'm really talking about here is, what I'm really focusing on is the price behaviour, not the price levels. Price levels can be blown out of the water, both upside and downside, as we well and truly know. Okay, whether it be CBA going to 180 or whatever it was, or Domino's going to almost to zero, whatever it went to. So stocks can go excessively either way, and that's what we know. So expensive or rich is probably in the eye of the beholder at the time, but they can change very, very quickly as prices move. So this is another little thing about expectations and perceptions. Okay, so just a little bit about the new high. Some people can't do that because they find it too high. They can't do momentum trades, and for some people they love momentum trades, so which is what I like. So the trend reversal is really the other one, which is the buy and weakness one. This is more of a momentum trade, but still, I think the new high. Hopefully, I've shown you enough of these for you to understand how they work and why they work. Okay, so that's Metals X. So that's the charts I want to go through for you today. Not a lot, but the market is interesting. The main thing, the industrials have been pretty flat. I talk about this in the newsletter this week. We've got a lot of money to be made in these metals markets, and we've got to make sure we lock all that in. Okay, so just to go briefly to trading tactics. Now, the question on everybody's lips is, what do you do with these big runs? When things like Pilbara Minerals runs up 70 cent, Liontown, there's quite a few of them who've done this. So the key to it really is managing it, and that's really all you need to do. So I was going to have a little bit of a talk to you for about a couple of things for a second. There are many lucrative trends in the market, and we've got to manage them, whether they be losses or profits. If you're a trend follower and into making money, then you've got to, then when you get on a trend, it is very important to protect that trend. Okay, this also comes at a cost. The first cost is you will never get the top. Okay, this is an expectation we often have. We want to get a high price all the time, so you won't get the top, and you will leave some money on the table. So there is always an expectation to manage for people who are expecting those things. Okay, and if you worry about leaving money on the table. Okay, once you understand how to do that, how to manage that, it is unlikely the problem will arise again. You will get comfortable with those situations of taking profits and cutting losses, things like that. So, or else you might be happy. You may not have any problem with it. You have no expectations to manage. You're happy with the money you're making, and that's good. Okay. So, but expectations for a lot of people is difficult. The real question, what we want to do is did we achieve our objective? Did we capture a trend, which is our objective? Did we follow our trade plan, which is also an objective? And we don't follow our trade plan to do the entry right and the exit right. If you did that, then you'd be happy. And this is the process that we're following, and then the outcome develops from that. We can't control the outcome to a large extent, but we can control the processes. Okay? So here we are now with many of you with nice juicy profits, and you may be wondering what to do. The outcome will be the outcome, and by following the process, stop in this case, we will improve our outcomes all the time. So if and when your stop goes off, then you know what to do. Simple as that. That's the simple and only answer. As imperfect as it may be, that is trading. Okay, so you will take losses. You won't get the top. There are lots of things we need to understand and manage when we're trading, and otherwise it will drive us crazy. Okay, the main thing is you do follow your processes, and your outcomes will develop from there. And that's trading. So a trade is a trade, but it lies within a strategy. where a series of trades follows a strategy that targets a certain market behaviour, such as trends. And that's where the key overseeing control occurs in the strategy. How the Stockradar strategy works is shown graphically at the end of this month's monthly radar newsletter. So you can see how the trend reversal, the stops, a new high all work together to make sure we're capitalising on a trend. So it's not just one trade, one single trade. We're looking at a series of trades to generate our returns. Okay, so that's really so important just to manage it and do the right thing. And as I say, the outcomes will follow from there. Okay, so there's the disclaimer. Trend and follow, so it's our time now. I mean, trends dominate the market most of the time. Sometimes they're difficult, but for the majority of the time, trends are there, and certainly at the moment, they are occurring. Okay, so that's about all I've got for you today. Watch your trends, heed your stops, keep it simple, have fun, stay safe, and then I'll see you all again next week. And who knows where we'll be next week, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun.